Feeling like your vision is still fine can be one of the most misleading signals your body gives you. Because the eyes do not complain early. They adapt. They compensate. They adjust quietly in the background until something has already started to change. I'm Dr. Warren Hung. On this channel, I focus on helping you understand how your body actually works, especially in the years where small habits begin to carry bigger consequences. If you value clear, practical medical explanations like this, consider subscribing. It helps you stay ahead of problems that often go unnoticed for too long. When it comes to eye health, one assumption shows up again and again. If you are eating reasonably well and you can still see clearly enough to function, then your eyes must be doing fine. That assumption feels logical, but it leaves out something very important. Your eyes are not just passive lenses. They are active, living tissue. They rely on a constant supply of oxygen, nutrients, and protection against damage that builds up throughout the day. And that damage does build up. Every hour you spend looking at screens, focusing at close distances, or being exposed to light, your retinal cells are working continuously. Inside those cells, tiny processes generate energy, and as a side effect of that energy production, unstable molecules, what we call oxidative stress, begin to accumulate. In simple terms, oxidative stress means that certain molecules become reactive and start damaging nearby structures, including delicate parts of the eye like the retina and the lens. Now, during the day, your body is busy doing many things at once. Digestion, movement, blood pressure regulation, hormonal activity. Repair still happens, but it is not the priority. Night is different. When you sleep, your body shifts into a state where restoration becomes more active. Blood flow patterns change. Certain repair pathways increase their activity. Cells begin clearing out some of the stress that built up earlier. Your eyes are part of that process. But this is where age changes the equation. After 55, and even more after 60, the body does not recover as efficiently as it once did. Circulation can become less responsive. Nutrient delivery is not always as consistent. Antioxidant defenses, the systems that neutralize oxidative stress, can weaken. That means two things start happening at the same time. First, the daily strain on your eyes continues. Second, the overnight repair becomes less effective. That gap between damage and repair is where long-term problems begin to develop. And here is where the misunderstanding becomes risky. If you are eating healthy foods during the day, that is helpful. But it does not automatically mean your eyes are getting what they need at the moment they are trying to repair themselves. Timing matters. What your body has available in your bloodstream at night influences how well that repair process works. And this is something most people never think about. They focus on what they eat. They rarely think about when the body actually uses it most effectively. I have had many patients in their 60s and 70s who tell me, very confidently, that their diet is good. And in many cases, they are right. Balanced meals. Reasonable portions. No obvious excess. But when we look closer, a pattern often appears. Their nutrient intake is spread across the day, but the period when their eyes need support the most overnight is not being supported in a targeted way. And over time, that mismatch can matter. Because the retina, the part of your eye responsible for capturing light and turning it into signals your brain can understand, is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body. It requires constant energy. It is highly sensitive to oxidative stress. And it depends heavily on nutrients that support its structure and function. If those nutrients are not available when repair is happening, the system still works, but not as efficiently. And when that happens repeatedly, night after night, year after year, small changes begin to accumulate. This is how vision decline often starts. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, in ways that feel easy to ignore at first. You might notice your eyes feel drier in the evening. You may need more light to read than you used to. Night driving might feel slightly more uncomfortable. Individually, each of these can seem minor. Together, they can point to a system that is under more strain than it should be. And this is why a very simple adjustment, one that sounds almost too small to matter, can actually support the system at a critical time. Not by replacing everything else you do, but by aligning your nutrition with your body's natural repair window. There is one fruit in particular that stands out for this purpose. Not because it is trendy, not because it is rare, but because of how its nutrients interact with the biology of the eye, especially at night. And once you understand what it does, and why timing changes its effect, you start to see that eye health is not just about what you eat. It is about when your body can actually use it. And that shift in timing is where the real advantage begins to show. The fruit I want to focus on is the kiwi. It is not the most talked about fruit for eye health. It does not have the same reputation as carrots or blueberries. But when you look closely at its nutritional profile and how those nutrients behave in the body, it becomes surprisingly relevant, especially at night. What makes kiwi different is not just one vitamin. It is the combination of several compounds working together. Let's break this down clearly. First, kiwi is very high in vitamin C. Vitamin C is often associated with the immune system, but it also plays a direct role in eye health. Inside the eye, particularly in the lens and surrounding fluids, vitamin C acts as an antioxidant. That means it helps neutralize the oxidative stress we talked about earlier. The lens of the eye is especially sensitive to this type of stress. Over time, oxidative damage contributes to changes in lens clarity, which is one of the processes involved in cataract formation. Data from large observational studies, including findings from long-term population cohorts like the Nurses' Health Study, have shown that higher vitamin C intake is associated with a lower risk of cataract progression over time. This does not mean vitamin C prevents cataracts entirely, but it supports the idea that consistent antioxidant exposure helps protect the structure of the lens. Kiwi provides a concentrated source of this support. But vitamin C is only one part of the picture. Kiwi also contains lutein and zeaxanthin. These are pigments, carotenoids, that accumulate in a specific part of the retina called the macula. The macula is responsible for central vision, the kind you use for reading, recognizing faces, and seeing fine detail. Lutein and zeaxanthin act like a natural filter. They help absorb certain types of light and reduce the amount of oxidative stress reaching the retinal cells. This becomes more important with age. As the years pass, the density of these protective pigments in the macula can decrease. When that happens, the retina becomes more vulnerable to damage. Large studies, including data from the age-related eye disease study, AREDS, and its follow-up AREDS-2, have shown that specific combinations of antioxidants and carotenoids can slow the progression of age-related macular degeneration in certain high-risk groups. Again, this is not a cure, but it is strong evidence that these nutrients matter in real clinical outcomes. Kiwi contributes to this system in a natural, food-based way. And there is another piece that is often overlooked. Kiwi contains compounds that support circulation. Your eyes depend on very small blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients. Over time, especially with conditions like high blood pressure or early vascular changes, these tiny vessels can become less efficient. Reduced circulation means reduced delivery of what the eye needs to maintain and repair itself. Some research has shown that diets rich in fruits, high in antioxidants, and certain plant compounds are associated with better vascular function. Kiwi, in particular, has been studied for its effects on endothelial function, the ability of blood vessels to relax and respond properly. Better vessel function means better blood flow. And better blood flow means better support for tissues that rely on constant nutrient delivery, including the retina. Now, let's bring this back to something practical. You might be thinking, if kiwi is helpful, does it really matter when I eat it? This is where timing becomes important again. If you eat kiwi earlier in the day, your body will still use those nutrients, but they will be distributed across many processes. By the time your body shifts into its overnight repair mode, the concentration of those nutrients in your bloodstream may not be as consistent. Eating kiwi closer to bedtime changes that. It increases the likelihood that key compounds like vitamin C and carotenoids are available while your body is actively repairing tissues, including those in the eye. This does not mean you need large amounts. In fact, moderation matters. 1 to 2 kiwis is typically enough to provide a meaningful amount of these nutrients without creating unnecessary sugar load, which is something to be mindful of, especially if you are managing blood sugar or insulin sensitivity. Because there is another misconception worth correcting. Some people avoid fruit at night entirely because of sugar concerns. For certain individuals, especially those with diabetes or poorly controlled blood sugar, this is a valid consideration. But for many people, a small portion of whole fruit, particularly one with fiber like kiwi, has a relatively moderate impact compared to processed carbohydrates or late-night snacks high in refined sugar. And in the context of overall diet quality, the benefit of nutrient timing may outweigh the concern, provided portions remain reasonable. So the goal is not excess. It is alignment. Providing your body with the right support at the moment it is most prepared to use it. And this is where kiwi becomes more than just a healthy fruit. It becomes a targeted tool, a way to support antioxidant defenses, retinal protection, and circulation at a time when your body is already trying to repair and restore. But there is still one missing piece. Because even if you eat the right food, at the right time, there are still habits that can reduce or even cancel part of that benefit. And understanding that interaction is what makes the difference between a helpful habit and a truly effective one. Eating something healthy is one thing. Eating it at a time when your body can actually use it for repair, that is a different level of impact. And this is where the evening becomes more important than it looks. When you fall asleep, your body does not simply shut down. It shifts priorities. Energy that was being used for movement, digestion, and constant adjustment during the day is redirected. Repair becomes more active. Cells begin to restore balance. Damaged components are broken down and replaced. This includes the eyes. Your retinal cells, which have been active all day, begin a process of recovery. They work to manage the oxidative stress that has accumulated. They rely on available nutrients to stabilize and protect their structure. But here is the key point. The body can only use what is available at that moment. If the nutrients that support eye health, like vitamin C and carotenoids, are not present in the bloodstream in a meaningful amount during that window, the repair process still happens, but not as efficiently. And over time, that difference matters. This is where circadian biology comes into play. Your body follows a natural rhythm over a 24-hour cycle. Hormones rise and fall. Enzymes activate and deactivate. Different tissues prioritize different functions depending on the time of day. At night, certain repair pathways increase their activity. For example, antioxidant systems become more engaged in neutralizing the stress accumulated during waking hours. If you support that window with the right nutrients, you are not forcing the body to do something unnatural. You are simply working with its existing rhythm. Now let me give you a simple way to think about this. Imagine your body as a maintenance crew. During the day, the crew is busy managing traffic, keeping things running, responding to immediate demands. At night, when activity slows, the crew begins repairing the roads. But if the materials needed for repair are not delivered at that time, the crew does what it can with what is available. The work gets done, but not at the same level of quality. This is exactly what happens with nutrient timing. And this is also where a common misunderstanding shows up. Many people believe that as long as their overall diet is good, timing does not matter. I remember a patient in his early 70s who told me something very similar. He was eating fruits and vegetables every day, avoiding processed foods, and staying active. From a general perspective, his habits were solid. But he was also experiencing increasing dryness in his eyes, especially at night, and more difficulty with glare when driving. When we looked closer, his nutrient intake was concentrated earlier in the day. Dinner was light, and he often avoided eating anything in the evening because he believed it was better for digestion. What this shows is how easy it is to do the right things in a way that does not fully support the body's needs. And this illustrates something important about how the body works. Consistency matters, but timing can shape how that consistency translates into real biological effect. Now, there is another layer to this that becomes more relevant with age. As circulation changes over time, nutrient delivery can become less efficient. The small vessels that supply the eyes may not respond as quickly or as effectively as they once did. This means that having nutrients available at the right time becomes even more important. Because the margin for error becomes smaller, a younger body may compensate more easily for imperfect timing. An older body has less flexibility. And that is where small adjustments start to have a larger impact. But we also need to address a potential concern. Eating before bed is often associated with weight gain or poor sleep. And in some cases, that concern is valid. Large meals late at night, especially those high in refined carbohydrates or heavy fats, can interfere with sleep quality and metabolic balance. But what we are talking about here is not a heavy meal. It is a small, targeted intake. 1 or 2 kiwis. Kiwi itself has properties that may actually support sleep in some individuals. There is research suggesting that kiwi consumption in the evening may improve certain aspects of sleep quality, possibly due to its content of serotonin precursors and antioxidants. Some small clinical studies have explored this connection, though more research is still needed to fully confirm the effect. Even without relying on that potential benefit, the key point remains simple. You are not adding stress to the system. You are providing support at a moment when the system is already shifting toward repair. Now, there is still one more piece that determines whether this habit actually works. Because even if you eat kiwi at the right time, there are surrounding habits that can either support or interfere with its effect. Hydration, late-night light exposure, blood sugar spikes from other foods, sleep quality itself. All of these influence how well your body carries out its overnight processes. So the fruit is not acting in isolation. It is part of a system. And understanding that system is what turns a simple idea into something that actually makes a difference over time. Because once you see how these pieces connect, the next step is making it practical enough to use consistently. Knowing what helps is useful. Knowing how to apply it in a way your body actually benefits from, that is what makes it stick. Because this is where many good habits quietly fail. Not because the idea is wrong, but because the way it is used does not match how the body works. Let's make this simple and practical. If you want to support your eyes overnight, the goal is not to eat more. The goal is to be precise. A small portion is enough. For most people, 1 to 2 kiwis, eaten about 1 hour before bed, is a reasonable starting point. This timing allows digestion to begin without creating discomfort when you lie down, while still making nutrients available during the early phases of sleep. You do not need to combine it with anything complicated. In fact, keeping it simple is often better. Whole fruit, eaten on its own, provides fiber along with the nutrients. That fiber slows absorption and helps avoid sharp changes in blood sugar. And this matters more than it seems. Because one of the easiest ways to cancel the benefit of this habit is by pairing it with the wrong foods. For example, if the kiwi becomes part of a late-night snack that includes refined carbohydrates, cookies, pastries, sugary cereals, the metabolic effect changes. Instead of a stable, supportive nutrient release, you create a spike in blood sugar followed by a drop. That pattern can interfere with sleep quality and increase stress on the body's regulatory systems. And when sleep quality drops, repair processes become less efficient. So the first principle is this: keep it targeted. Keep it light. Avoid turning it into a larger late-night eating pattern. Now, there is another factor that often gets overlooked: hydration. Your eyes rely on proper fluid balance to maintain tear production and surface health. As people get older, the sensation of thirst can become less reliable. Many adults over 60 are mildly dehydrated without realizing it. If you go into the night already low on fluids, the surface of the eye can become more prone to dryness and irritation. That means even if you provide nutrients, the environment they are working in is not optimal. A simple adjustment making sure you are adequately hydrated earlier in the evening can support the overall effect. Not excessive drinking right before bed, which may disrupt sleep, but steady hydration throughout the late afternoon and evening. Then there is light exposure. This may seem unrelated to food, but it directly affects how your eyes recover. Bright light, especially from screens, signals the brain to stay alert. It can delay the natural processes that prepare the body for sleep. At the same time, your eyes remain actively engaged, continuing to process visual information instead of transitioning into a more restful state. If that exposure continues late into the night, it reduces the quality of the recovery window. So even if you have eaten the right fruit at the right time, the environment is not fully supporting repair. A simple boundary-reducing screen brightness, stepping away from intense visual focus before bed, can make a measurable difference. Now let's address one more important group. If you have diabetes, prediabetes, or are managing blood sugar closely, this habit needs a small adjustment. Kiwi is a whole fruit, and it contains natural sugars. For many people, the fiber content helps moderate the effect. But individual responses vary. In this case, the goal is not to avoid the fruit completely, but to be aware. Monitor how your blood sugar responds if you are tracking it. Consider starting with 1 kiwi instead of 2. And if you have been given specific dietary guidance by your doctor, align this habit with that plan. Because consistency matters more than intensity. Now, let's bring all of this together into something you can actually use. Think of this as a simple evening framework. First, your evening meal finishes at a reasonable time, not too close to sleep. Then, about an hour before bed, you have 1 to 2 kiwis. Nothing heavy added. Your fluid intake has been steady through the evening, so you are not going to bed dehydrated. You reduce bright, direct light exposure as you approach sleep, giving both your brain and your eyes a signal to slow down. And then you sleep. That is it. No complicated routine. No strict rules. Just alignment with how your body already works. Over time, small habits like this can support the systems that are often under the most strain with age. The retina, the lens, the small vessels that supply the eye. These are not systems that respond to a single change overnight, but they do respond to consistency. And this is where the bigger picture matters. Eye health is not only about avoiding problems when they become obvious. It is about reducing the quiet accumulation of stress that leads to those problems in the first place. That includes conditions like cataracts, macular degeneration, and gradual decline in visual clarity issues that become more common with age and are often linked to long-term oxidative stress and vascular changes. What you are doing here is not treating those conditions. You are supporting the environment that helps slow their progression. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one simple way to think about this. Do not ask only, Am I eating healthy? Ask, is my body getting what it needs when it is trying to repair itself? That small shift changes how you approach habits like this. If this explanation helped you see your routine differently, consider subscribing. It's a simple way to keep learning how to protect your health with clear, practical guidance. And I'm curious, does this sound like something you already do, or something you might try adjusting tonight? Because sometimes, the difference between maintaining function and slowly losing it comes down to small patterns that repeat every single day. And this is one of them.